All right, so we are working on a problem where we are talking about still subtracting rational numbers. But in this problem, what we're going to do is evaluate our expressions to see what's happening. So we have a submersible, and it is 1 and 4/5 miles below sea level. It dives 1.4 miles deeper into the ocean. At what elevation is the submersible? All right. So, first thing we need to figure out is what's happening in this story. And this is where we would use our cube strategy to help us out. So, I think that's going to be super important there. And we need to be able to identify now that we're talking about rational numbers. Remember, we can be talking about positive as well as negative numbers. And so we see that the submersible is 1 and 4/5 miles below sea level. So seeing that lets me know that we're talking about negative. So I'm going to write on here negative 1 and 4/5. Okay. And it dives 1.4 miles deeper into the ocean. So if we're thinking about it, it's continuing to go down, right? And so if it's going down, then that means we are going in the negative direction, right? So our second term is also going to be negative, and we're going to put minus 1.4. Now we want to know what is our elevation at this point. And what we need to do is first look at what we have. We have a fraction or a mixed number, and we also have a decimal form. So either A, we look to see if we can convert it into a terminating decimal. If it is a terminating decimal, we can turn it into a decimal and solve everything. And if it is not a terminating decimal, then remember we want to convert our decimals into fractions. So knowing my fifths, I know that 4/5, we're counting by 20s when we talk about fifths. So 20, 40, 60, 80. So that lets me know that this is 80 hundredths is what we're talking about. So that would be point 0.8. So that is a terminating decimal. So I think what I'm going to do is convert this into its decimal equivalent. So that would be -1 and 8 tenths or 80 hundredths. Either one is going to get you the same answer. And we're going to subtract out 1.4. Okay. So what we're saying is we're going in the negative direction. And then here we're still continuing to go into the negative direction. So remember, because we are going into the same direction, we can just actually add and then use our subtraction sign, right? So what we're saying is we are 1.8 in the negative. Oops, wrong way, wrong number. All right. What we're saying is 1.8 in the negative, and then another 1.4. We're going to put the negative sign in afterwards, right? So we're just adding these two up together. And so 4 plus 8 gives me 12. Carry the 1, and then we have a 3. Remember, when you're adding decimals, remember your decimal has to line up from the start all the way through your answer. Okay. Now, because we are going in the negative direction and then continuing to go in the negative direction, your answer is going to be negative. Okay. So your answer is going to be negative 3.2 miles is our unit. That's what they were talking about. Below sea level. All right. Now, of course, we could use our calculator if you know how to do that. So what we would have done is plugged in the 1 ABC, 4 ABC, 5. But remember, this is negative. So once you plug that number in, then you need to go and convert it into a negative. So there's our negative. And now we're going to subtract 1.4. So 1.4, wrong number, 4. All right. And then here's our answer. And it automatically converted our fraction into a decimal because it realized that it was a terminating number. And so it did the work for you. And it converted it into a decimal for you. So it's the same thing that we have here. So it is -3.2 miles below sea level.